Presented by Fourth Wall Productions LLC. This is a work of fiction. All the characters, organizations, and events portrayed in this novel are either products of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. The SIC Squad, Denny J. Quick. Copyright 2014 by Denny J. Quick. All rights reserved. The SIC Squad. Short story by Denny Quick. Why is it so cold out here? Rooster complains as he tightens the hood of his Gore-Tex wind-resistant grey and white digital camouflage coat. Black people ain't made for this kind of weather. I'm not going on the next mission unless it's somewhere warm. He steps into the center of the diamond-shaped formation using Commodore to block the wind in front of him. The captain of the group leads the squad from the front, silently guiding the group with an encrypted geographic positioning device. He looks over his right shoulder to the young woman guarding that side. "This is it," Commodore says to the woman, and she immediately begins to move. She takes the GPD from Commodore and simultaneously reaches with her right hand into her backpack. She takes out a metallic 3-foot-long cylinder and attaches the GPD into a slot on the top. She takes a few more steps and finds a good spot in the frozen ice. "This'll do." She kneels down and places the cylinder into the ground. She twists the cylinder and 3 legs extend and stabilize it on the ground. She stands and activates the device, and it begins to spin and shoot into the ground. "So that thing is going to get all samples? And they needed all of us to come out here to bring this little thing?" Rooster continues to complain to the group. Scorpion walks past him towards the hole that the device left. His slick black helmet sticks out in the frozen tundra. The scouting report detailed the plan, and no hostile force is expected. But each SIC Squad member is always prepared for a fight. They were all chosen for some skill or heightened ability that they possessed, as well as most of their military training. "Get over it, Rooster. This is only our 4th mission. They're not going to send us into anything hot until they get good and ready." Rana, the young Filipino scientist, finally replies to Rooster. "Come on, all 5 of us to babysit some samples? That's just stupid. And it's freezing out here." "Look, I'm with you, Rooster. I want to get into some action soon. But this is what we have for now. Out on the frozen Arctic." Rana laughs and pulls another device from her bag and begins to monitor the signal coming from the cylinder. Rooster turns to the 2 members who have been silent so far and continues his rant. "Come on, Rock-chan. You know something's off about this, or you wouldn't be carrying both of those cannons," Rooster says. The exotic-looking man with a large, long-barreled gun strapped to his back and another equally intimidated rifle in his hands turns towards Rooster. His scowl would normally be enough to redirect Rooster's badgering, but he clutches his large weapon with both hands and replies, "That's Sir Rock-chan, buddy, and I always carry both my boys," he says, and then promptly returns to guarding his section. Rooster rolls his eyes and forgets about the cold long enough to start pacing. Captain Commodore remains silent as he studies the glacier-laden landscape as if he's looking for something. The group stands silent for a moment more before the most secretive of the crew speaks up. "He's right," Scorpion says. His robotic altered voice is amplified through his impermeable helmet, and everyone turns to listen. "Why are we really out here, Captain?" Scorpion's clouded past and anonymity has caused mistrust among the other squad members since their first mission. He is clearly the most skilled of the group. He has a strict code that he lives by, and has placed his code above the needs of the group already in training on numerous occasions. He has questioned mission objectives, the judgments of his superiors, and seems preoccupied at times. They wouldn't just send us out here for some samples. They could have done this with a simple drone flyover. Scorpion addresses Commodore and approaches him. Commodore looks at Scorpion, but can only see his own reflection in Scorpion's black and shiny metallic helmet. He turns around and looks back at the blistering skyline. Scorpion feels disrespected by Commodore turning his back on him and begins to grab Commodore to turn him back around. "You all received the same mission brief," Commodore says just before Scorpion grabs him. "There has been strange activity in this area that has caused the submarine volcano in this area to destabilize." He turns and faces the group. "With the Russian Navy and Arctic coastal states planning missions to this area,
We are here to reckon the ecologic state to make sure that the missions run smoothly." "We know that, sir," Scorpion replies sardonically. "We all got that report the same time you did." "Yes, but there is more," Captain Commodore replies. "They are hoping to find something unique in these samples." "Who is? Commander LaCrush?" Rooster chimes in. "Is Guillermo Malvide involved?" Scorpion asks. "You know Dr. Malvide is a financial contributor and researcher to the SIC Squad, but he is not directly involved in the missions that we choose." Captain Commodore explains reluctantly. "It is true. I myself have had questions about our true objectives and dislike the lack of transparency that this outfit upholds. But I have my reasons for being here. I imagine that much like me, you were each offered exactly what you needed to persuade you to join." The group goes silent for a moment. So Rock-chan turns and faces the group. "Gear up. Something's coming," he says, then squints his eyes and peers eastward over the large jagged glacier to their right. Commodore's GPD begins to beep, and he looks down at the tracking device. He takes a few steps toward the hole in the ice and says, "Something's wrong." He unzips his protective vest and removes it along with his belt, which is loaded to the brim with grenades and pouches. "You're going down there?" Rooster interjects. "Chan just said something's coming." He lifts his hands and points in the direction that Sir Rock-chan is staring intensely. Commodore continues preparing. He tightens a scarf around his head, and the skin on his face and hand begin to change colors. His skin cells begin to expand and contract. They become hard like fish scales and then stiffen and become translucent. "You can handle it," he replies. "If you're not back in 5 minutes, I'm coming after you," Rana says emphatically as their captain dives in. "Figures," Scorpion chimes in. "He doesn't know anything either." "None of us do. Lay it off," Rana replies. "Why are you even here? It's obvious you don't care about anything but yourself. How can we be a team when none of us even know who you really are?" "Calm down, Piranha." Rooster has a nickname for every team member. He puts his hand on Rana's shoulder, trying to calm her down, but it doesn't work. She shoves his hand away and turns to face whatever danger is approaching. Sir Rock-chan has begun to peer through the scope of his rifle and has taken an aggressive stance. All of a sudden, 2 large black helicopters silently swoosh over the glacier. They release over 24 men about 100 yards away and then charge into the direction of the SIC Squad. They don't even have a moment to react before Rana screams out, "Let's do this!" Rana chambers an explosive projective round and sights up the closest chopper.
Kathang! She releases the round and the rest of the team begins to separate. Rooster and Rana run straight ahead while preparing their weapons. So Rock-chan splits off to the far left. As the oldest and least limber of the SIC Squad, he relies on his extremely powerful weapons and a few unstoppable hand-to-hand techniques to quickly debilitate his enemies. He aims and fires his weapon into the direction of the men. The heavy rounds from the rifle scream towards them and then explode into an inferno as they hit the area encircling the 28 armed men in flames. Kaboom! Rana's round implants into the closest chopper and explodes into the cab, instantly killing the pilot and forcing one chopper to the ground. It careens out of control and crashes into the thick ice right in front of the over 24 soldiers. About 5 men are either sliced in half by the helicopter propellers or dragged into the ice-cold water along the wreckage with no hopes of resurfacing. The rest of the soldiers scatter in every direction and start to head towards each of the SIC Squad. Scorpion is the first to close in on a combatant. "Russians," Scorpion speaks into his radio to the team. "What are Russians doing here now?" He pulls his custom katana-like sword from behind him and slings it with his right hand before the first Russian soldier can even pull his weapon out of his holster and literally disarms him. Scorpion makes easy work of the small group of 6 soldiers leaving the icy landscape covered in blood. Rooster and Rana orchestrate an athletic ballet of hot metal. Rooster uses his twin Desert Eagles with extended clips, and Rana uses Commodore's AR to make light work of the largest group of 12 soldiers. The other helicopter opens fire in their direction, and they both sprint into the heart of the rest of the soldiers. Sirok Chan begins to pick off unsuspecting Russian soldiers from a small covered nook in the ice where he hopes not to be seen by the helicopter pilot. Scorpion whips out a handheld PDA and inputs a command with his free hand. He looks up into the sky, and a clam-shaped flying vehicle uncloaks and hovers silently above as the panels of its shell shift and reveal massive cannons. The cannons begin to charge as the helicopter turns in its direction and begins to fire. The clam-shaped support evacuation aircraft carrier takes heavy damage before it can muster up enough energy to shoot its crashing shockwave of energy at the Russian chopper, crippling it and causing it to crash to the ground. The clam-shaped aircraft immediately recloaks once the energy is released and vanishes. The SIC Squad quickly finishes the slaughter. "That's what I'm talking about," Rooster exclaims as he surveys the massacre for any brave soul with any fight left. The group begins to make their way back to where they left Captain Commodore and his equipment. "That was too easy," Scorpion says as he looks back over his shoulder at the carnage they just produced. "But it was fun," Rana says with excitement. She's been invigorated with the thrill of battle. Rooster clenches a patch from one of the Russian soldiers' gear in his hand as he almost skips back to the circular opening in the thick ice. "This is the most fun I could have hoped to have out here on the Sicycle," Rooster exclaims as he catches up to the group. The cylindrical device shoots up through the hole in the ice and clanks down in front of the group. Commodore's arms appear immediately after, and he digs his jagged blue fingers into the ice around the edge of the opening and pulls himself up out of the slush of ice water with ease. "Hey, we got it done, boss!" Rooster holds out his new trophy and slides through the squad to present it to Commodore. Commodore looks up from his knees as he takes a deep breath in and starts to rewarm his core. He squints his eyes and stretches his neck to his right to try and see past his squad. All he can see from a distance is blood, and explosive residue remains from the Russian fleet that appeared just seconds before Commodore disappeared into the frozen lake. "What happened?" Commodore exclaims as he jumps to his feet and rushes through his squad. Rooster's eyes widen and he tucks his trophy away, seeing his leader's disappointment and shock. "What do you mean, what happened?" Scorpion chimes in. "You left your squad without any leadership, and we took action." Scorpion's disrespectful tone can be felt through all of the technology that alters his voice. "I didn't tell you to kill anybody." Commodore spins back around and addresses the group. He walks back through them and begins to gear up. "They're not all dead," Rooster says, trying to lessen the blow, but it doesn't work. "None of them are supposed to be dead. We're here to support them. Or didn't you all get that from the mission brief? None of our missions so far have had hostile objectives. Why would you assume that this one was?" "They were coming at us, Commodore. We were—" Rana tries to explain, but she's cut off. "Who made first contact?" Commodore demands as he forces his arms into his jacket. "Who attacked first?" The rest of the team stops for a moment to reflect on the battle, and then one by one they realize that Rana led off the first shot. Commodore can sense the group's general consensus. He turns his gaze in Rana's direction. "Your impulsiveness and quick temper have almost gotten us in bad situations more than a few times now," Commodore says, and then turns to Scorpion. "I would have expected you to know better, Scorpion. You're supposed to be the level-headed one." Scorpion raises his level of hostility to match Commodore's. "Don't try to blame this on us. You're supposed to lead the squad." Scorpion steps towards Commodore aggressively and presses his index finger into Commodore's right pectoral muscle. Sirok Chan steps in between the two men, using his sturdy frame as a buffer between them. "Forget it. Let's go." Commodore grabs his pack and presses a digital pad. The shell-shaped SIC uncloaks, spins around and carefully sits down on the thick ice. "What about those guys? Shouldn't we call a medic? Or somebody?" Rooster points back over to the few Russian soldiers who are still squirming around. "No, we need to get out of here now," Commodore demands, and then files his team into the SIC. The aircraft lifts off as the team resentfully takes their seats inside. The tension in the small passenger compartment bubbles up quickly, even though no one has said a word. Scorpion refuses to sit, and holds onto a strap dangling from the roof as the aircraft begins to pick up speed. Commodore cannot see Scorpion's eyes, but he can tell that he is staring directly at him and scowling inside his biker-like helmet. "Do you have something else to say, Scorpion?" Commodore stands and grabs a strap. He stands firm at the back of the aircraft facing Scorpion. Rana sits on his left and Rooster sits anxiously on his right. Sarok Chan has taken a seat in the pilot's chair. Even though the small aircraft can easily reach its destination on its own, Sarok Chan prefers to have control while they are in the air. "I have plenty to say, but not to you," Scorpion replies smugly. "You broke rule number 1. You deserted your squad." "What do you think we're out here doing?" Commodore screams. Rana and Rooster sit up straight in their seats at their leader's outburst. "We are a peacekeeping organization. We are here in a global support capacity, for the betterment of mankind. What would make you think that we would ever have a mission that would require us to use violent force?" Commodore shrugs his shoulders violently and stares down his 3 squad members. "What is all of this training for?" Rana demands. "All of this high-tech weaponry, all of the R&D and money poured into giving us these abilities if we are just going out every day?" "Helping people," Commodore cuts Rana off. "It's all so we can help people. These powers come with responsibilities. We are not a group of mercenaries who can just do whatever we like. Our purpose is to maintain peace and order across the planet. We can't allow ourselves to fall to our own selfish desires. We are SIC Squad Alpha, the best of the best. For years to come, teams will look back on our missions for inspiration. We cannot let ourselves become tools for this planet's destruction by repeating the cycles of hate and violence." Commodore cannot believe his team doesn't understand what the Strategic Incident Containment Squadron's mission has always been. Each member was personally recruited by Commander Waldine LaCrush, the leader of the SIC Squad organization. The leader of the SIC Squad organization. They must have received the same orientation that he has. SIC Squad Alpha was supposed to be the paramount, the pinnacle of passion and perseverance. We are supposed to be the first in a long line of small squads that could be positioned and easily deployed around the globe to respond to any manner of situations where help is requested.
"It's all right, guys. We'll get it all straightened out when we get back." Rooster continues to try to de-escalate the tension between his squad mates. If Rana could control her temper, we might not be in this situation. I'm not so sure that this wasn't an attempt at sabotage.
Scorpion jabs at the open wound in Rana's already wounded spirits. "Shut up, Scorpion," Rana says as she stands up and gets in Scorpion's face. Commodore is no longer interested in their rivalry. He scoots past them both and joins Sarok Chan in the cockpit. "You were out there slashing and shooting too. Only you were trying to kill the Russians. Even Chan and Rooster were only wounding the enemy. Malvade is still pulling your strings, and I will no longer put my life on the line with his hands in this." Scorpion has been pulling away from the team for months now, and the day's events have drawn him even further away. "I would never take orders from him again. He humiliated me, and now no lab in the country will work with me," she replies angrily. "If there's any of us who can't be trusted, it's you. Nobody knows who you are or anything about you. And that stupid vocal adjuster is starting to get on my damn nerves." Scorpion is already turned away and plops down in his seat close enough to the front to hear what's going on in the cockpit. Rana backs off as she can tell that no one will continue this discussion with her. She rolls her eyes and returns to her seat across from Rooster. Rooster tries his best to make eye contact with any of his team members, but all of them are preoccupied with other thoughts. "So I guess nobody's coming to Zasby's with me, huh?" Rooster folds his arms and flops back in his chair like a 5-year-old upset about not being able to watch his favorite TV show. The rest of the ride is almost silent. The day's events have shaken most of the team in one way or another. The team reaches their central operating base and apprehensively prepares to exit the special aircraft as they hear Commander Waldine LaCrush's voice pouring in through the hangar. "Are you all okay?" Commander LaCrush waits at the bottom of the ramp for his primary squad. "I've already smoothed things over with the Russian embassy. You shouldn't have to worry about them pursuing us for this misunderstanding." Scorpion scoffs underneath his helmet as their commander tries to ease the spirits of his team. The commander's face clearly displays his disappointment. His warm and calm tone is very uncharacteristic, and this troubles most of the team. SIC Squad Alpha is not supposed to make these types of mistakes. They are supposed to be the cream of the crop. They would feel more at ease if their commander was screaming and cursing instead of hurt and disappointed. They can tell they've let him down. "We have no injuries or casualties to report, sir," Commander responds as he stops at the bottom of the ramp. Scorpion brushes past the two of them and heads for the exit, while Rana and Rooster remain behind Commodore awaiting their next orders. Sarok Chan also exits the SIC with his long rifle over his shoulder and heads out of the hangar without waiting for further instructions. "That's good," Commander Lecrash responds and delivers a sigh of relief. He looks over his shoulder as the door closes behind Scorpion and Sarok Chan. "Follow me, Captain. I'll start the debriefing with you." Over the next couple of hours, the team all gave detailed descriptions of what happened earlier that day. Then Commander Lecrash calls for a meeting with them all before they are to be released for the day. Surprised that their escapade had not been broadcasted all over the news, everyone meets in the conference room more relaxed. Everyone besides Scorpion has changed into their street clothes and is prepared to call it a day. The room is silent, like a dysfunctional family reunion dinner. The commander does not make them suffer in patience long. As he walks into the small room and approaches the head of the sturdy wooden table, his team stiffens up and sits up straight. Rooster and Rana sit to his left as he approaches the short end of the table. Commodore sits across on the far end of the table and Sarok Chan sits on his right in the chair closest to him. Scorpion chooses to stand in the far corner of the room behind Commodore and Sarok Chan with his arms folded. Commander Lecrash sits down a thin folder on the table and slides it past Rooster to Rana. "Go over that and sign it. We'll start your suspension and retraining tonight," Lecrash says and then addresses the rest of the group. "What happened today was a result of miscommunication. I take full responsibility for not disseminating the information properly to you. The only reason that Palia is getting suspended is because she opened fire on those Russians first. Based on the information that I've gathered from you all, as well as video from CX surveillance, this seemed to be the point that could have negated the situation." Lecrash stops for a moment and takes a deep breath. He looks past the members sitting at the table in Scorpion's direction and leans over the table and presses his palms into the wood. "I thought we were a team." He pauses again and looks around the table at his super-powered crew. "We are, sir. It's just stressful. Not seeing the results of our work out there?" Sarok Chan speaks up. "I know we've only been a team for a year or so, but it seems like we have all these powers to help us hand out baby wipes and put on bandages." "I see. You desire action?" Lecrash asks. Rooster looks up from the table at him and nods along with Sarok Chan while Rana continues to pour over her packet. "I assure you that you will have it. It may be sooner than expected." The rest of the team perks up and Scorpion takes a few steps towards the table. "The early results from the analysis on the samples that you brought back are giving us some strange readings, Rana," he calls, and she looks up from her packet to him. "If you want to earn your normal wage while on your suspension from the field, you're more than welcome to take to the lab. They could really use your help." Rana nods and buries her head back into her packet. "Hopefully with your help we can get the information that we need before it's too late." "Too late for what?" Commodore asks, inquiring about the commander's previous allusion to action. "As you all know, we have been gathering information around the world on many different subjects. We've discovered what we think is a new way to predict natural phenomena more accurately. Earthquakes, freak fissures causing destructive tidal waves, ionic imbalances in the atmosphere causing catastrophic lightning storms. We will be able to predict some of these occurrences weeks in and better protect the civilian populace from harm." The commander's passion begins to stir up as he speaks about protecting the people on this planet that we share. There's so much good that we can do on this planet if we all just come together. This team that we have here can make a statement to the world. There can be a fresh directive from us to marshal in with our example. The human race has not reached its full potential yet. They will see what a greater existence this world could manage through a spirit of service and support for your fellow man. It's hard for the team not to become enthralled and enthusiastic when the commander gets into one of his speeches. The entire team is now on the edge of their seats. Scorpion has even joined in and is standing at the far edge of the table. The commander continues. Each of you was brought here for a purpose. Each of you came here wanting more. Each of us will succeed in our own goals if we continue to work together for the greater good. We must put our silly feuds aside. Scorpion, I've always allowed you full access to every inch of our enterprise. I know that you have issues with trusting others, and that's why we allow you your privacy. But in exchange, we count on your ability to empathetically see into situations to see how they can work for everyone's benefit. Palia was unceremoniously terminated from Dr. Malvade's employ. Even though you believe him to be an evil mastermind, Palia's only concern has been to help people through her research. Her breakthroughs in unnatural molecular stabilization have helped us to create many of the methods that we use to give our team their special attributes. How can you be sure she's not still working for him? Scorpion replies. If you can't trust her, then you can trust me. You can trust that I'm in control of this organization. The same type of trust that you used to rely upon in your former teammates can apply here, if you allow yourself to. If you're not ready to be a team, this mission can wait until Better Squad is green. The entire group turns to look at Scorpion, and he immediately replies, We'll be fine. The group collectively releases a subconscious weight as Lacrash exhales deeply. The commander has concluded his platitude for the day. He leaves the team in the room in hopes that they will choose to come together and push past their grave mistake. Scorpion leaves right after him, causing the rest of the team to file out and leave to their own devices. The next week slowly ushers each member back into his or her comfort zone. Rana makes many advances in the laboratory that would have taken months without her guidance. Rooster continues his agility and precision training as well as his tactical studies. Scorpion even spends some time in the augmented training facility meditating and increasing his endurance and stamina to allow himself more stealth during combat. Code Blue, SIC Squad Alpha, report to Hangar 2 for mission brief. The call finally comes in. Saturday night just before the end of their irregular shift. I guess we're up, Rooster says as he and Rana crash into the hallway at the same time. It's about time, Rana replies, just happy to be off suspension and eager to get back in the field. The two race down the hallway buttoning their protective vests and black jackets. They each sling a bag over their shoulders and try their best not to be the last to the mission brief. With Scorpion and Commodore on their squad, Rooster and Rana have to continually study and prepare in order to keep up with the rest of the SIC Squad Alpha. They burst into the hangar and approach the rest of the squad. Commander Lacrash stands in front of the squad at the bottom of the ramp extended from the clam-shaped aircraft. As the two of them enter the hangar, the commander tucks a tablet under his left armpit and acknowledges them with a nod of his head. The two of them split and align themselves at both ends of the squad. The squad is now in their normal formation, from tallest to shortest, Rooster at the far right closest to the CX facing their commander, Sarok Chan to his left and Commodore in the middle of the formation. Scorpion stands fourth in the squad and Rana stands ready at the end. As they all settle into their positions, Commander Lacrash begins his mission brief. He takes pride in his founding squad, and though anyone could deliver the mission brief, he wants to motivate the team that still handles the most important missions. It's time, he begins. For 3 long weeks I've been waiting for the right mission to come along that would fuse this team back together. Your mission 3 weeks ago definitely had its setbacks, but it also thrust a gigantic success into our laps. The commander pauses for a second and pulls a tablet from under his left arm, flipping it around with the same motion. Using the samples that you retrieved, we were able to produce a formula to predict certain natural disasters up to 15 hours in advance. You're headed to the Congo. We believe that there is about to be some extreme volcanic activity in that region that will disseminate many of the inhabitants that live along the southern region along the Congo River. You are to investigate the volcanic threat and assist with evacuation if necessary. We will be sending additional air units to assist, but we may need you on the ground there before those units arrive. Your SIAC is the fastest there is, but will not be very useful in evacuating large populations. By our calculations, you have less than 10 hours to get there,
and to begin assisting with the evacuation. This is what the SIC Squad is all about. Commander Lacroix pauses and points his left hand towards the aircraft, using 4 fingers. Your custom upgrades are waiting for you inside, along with more information on your destination. Be safe out there. I believe in you, Alpha. Commander Lacroix nods his head in approval and dismisses himself as Commodore steps out of the squad and turns around to face them. All right, squad. You heard the man. We've got a job to do. Let's move. Commodore heads to his left and the rest of the squad files in behind him into the SIC. The familiar smell of folded steel fills the team's lungs as they all make their way to their newly installed storage lockers. These were my idea, Rooster says as he reaches into his locker and pulls out a slick pair of ballistic goggles. The rest of the team shuffles through their lockers and don't acknowledge Rooster's attempt to break the ice. Sarok Chan moves towards the cockpit through the narrow walkway. He can feel that nothing has changed. The team is still not healed from the events of 3 weeks ago. Unexpectedly, Scorpion steps away from his locker on the right side. He stands on the right of the aisle and turns to his left to face inward to the group. I'm sorry, Piranha. Scorpion's distorted voice spills out from his airtight helmet and grabs the attention of his squad members. Sarok Chan even turns back around and pauses before he steps into his private bubble in the cockpit. I apologize for wrongly accusing you, and I hope you won't hold it against me in the future. You are a valuable member of this team, and I'm proud to work beside you. Aww, group hug, Rooster chimes in as Rana and Commodore crack a smile. Rooster stretches his arms out and looks around at his team. Sarok Chan rolls his eyes and heads into the cockpit as the rest of the team shares a quick laugh. The short subsonic flight is more enjoyable than anything has been in the past 3 weeks. With the team communicating again, the chemistry floods back in and they easily pick back up where they left off. They arrive safely to the scorching hot plateau of northern Mali. Whew! When I said I wanted to go somewhere warm, I didn't mean Satan's armpit. Rooster jokes as the crew files off the SIC onto the bone-dry earth. Why couldn't we have landed closer to the trees? Commodore quickly turns and replies to him. We don't want to scare these people. This is an underdeveloped part of Mali. Many of these people may have never seen an aircraft like ours before. We want to keep them as calm as possible as we get them evacuated. Commodore reminds the group that they need to keep an open mind and that they should not be aggressive. Commodore removes his thrusty GPD from a large pouch in his jacket and points it towards the mirage of a tree line to the west of their location. He starts in the direction of the blinking icon on his screen, and the rest of the group follows him. Where's the volcano? Scorpion chimes in as the entire group continues to move towards a small village about 100 yards away. Each squad member searches the skyline but cannot find any evidence of any volcano. Blades of grass begin to occupy the sand as they continue to walk. The squad begins to smell the lush river as they get closer. They walk through the taller plants and finally reach the trees surrounding the village. Are these the right coordinates? Rana turns to Sarok Chan and asks. He only nods as he peers through the trees with a confused countenance as he sees the peaceful civilian populace meandering through their daily life. The populace of the rather large riverside village is much more advanced than the team expected. A tall marble tower peeks out just above the thick tall trees. The short rectangular white clay houses line the edges of the hard clay streets as the busy hustle of a nearby market grabs the team's attention. Hundreds of people of all races hustle up and down the streets making deals and trading goods and services. All right, listen up. Commodore spins around and addresses his team. We are not going to alarm these people until we're sure about what's going on. Rusa and Piranha will gather information from the civilians here regarding any natural disasters in the past, any geysers or hot spots in the area. Sarok Chan will head back to the ship and use its sensors to comb the area of any type of subterranean activity. Scorpion and I will head to the volcano's reported coordinates to see what's out there. Keep your radios close and we'll do accountability checks every 10 minutes. We still have a couple of hours before anything is supposed to be happening, so be careful. The squad all receives their orders and splits off into their groups. Scorpion and Commodore head away from the populated area of the village and back out into the dry landscape. The first 10 minutes pass by and the village disappears behind Commodore and Scorpion. Alpha 1 and 4 are up. Commodore speaks into the walkie-talkie clipped onto his vest and waits for a response. Alpha 3 and 5 are up, boss. Rooster's voice bellows from the speaker, followed by a clicking noise, and then Sir Rock-chan responds. This is Alpha 2. I read you, Lima Charlie Alpha 1. Over. SIC Squad Alpha is up. Radio silence until the next radio check-in in 10 minutes. Commodore looks up into the sky and then back over his shoulder as if he thought he may have heard something. Commodore turns down the volume on his radio as Scorpion notices his suspicious gaze and speaks up. What are you looking for? I have to tell you something. Commodore replies, and the two men slow the gait but keep moving north toward the blinking icon on the radar. Scorpion turns down his radio volume and continues to listen. You are right to be suspicious of the SIC Squad's true intentions. He looks back over his shoulder and takes a deep breath. He is clearly unsure about the decision that he's about to make. If I don't make it back from this mission, please get far away from this team. Wait, what? Scorpion is caught off guard by the apprehension in his leader's words more than anything. He has suspected that something was awry. For a while, Scorpion has grown increasingly suspicious of different aspects of his new profession. His mistrust for his teammates and commander has caused him to become hard and ornery in the past couple of months, but he never suspected that Commodore the Red may have shared his disbeliefs. Just listen. You and Rooster have to get out of here as fast as you can. A war is coming, and I'm not sure if we'll be fighting on the right side. A war? I tell you this because I know in my heart that you're a good man, but a man with his own demons to fight. And our commander offered you complete access to our files and records, but he is not holding up his end of the bargain. These missions that we are being sent on are each specifically designed to retrieve information, technology, or in this case, a rare special item. What item? Scorpion asks, finally stopping his stroll and facing Commodore. Even I am unsure. There was a magnetic signature in the samples that we collected from the Arctic that help us pinpoint this location as its resting place. But even I do not know exactly what it is that I will be searching for once I get there. He pauses for a moment as he feels a weight lifted off himself. I understand if you turn back now and leave this mission. Scorpion chuckles. It was obvious to me that there was something else going on here. I've run missions in this part of Mali before. I knew that there was no volcano in this region. I was curious as to what is really going on here. I've been searching for a way to better control my emotions and to deal with the growing rage inside of myself. Beep, beep, beep. Scorpion's monologue is interrupted by the screeching loud indicators coming from their radios. Commodore instantly increases his volume. Alpha 1, get out of there. There is subterranean activity spreading from north of your position. Sir Rock-chan screams over the radio. Scorpion and Commodore both look to the north and notice strange gas shooting up through the Earth's crust about 70 yards in front of them. Commodore glances down at his GPD and begins to sprint toward the origin of the erupting gas. What are you doing? Scorpion shouts out to Commodore, but he doesn't respond. The aircraft appears in the air behind them and begins to move in their direction. I'll lower the chute down for you two. Sir Rock-chan's voice explodes from the radio as the small aircraft moves toward the two men. Scorpion begins to sprint in the direction of Commodore, but he cannot match his speed. Commodore has already reached the area where the steaming pressurized air explodes from the Earth. The SIC finally catches up to Scorpion and he grabs onto the dangling rope, hoping to use its speed to catch up to his leader. A low grumble rumbles from the Earth as Commodore looks down at his GPD. He's in the correct position. He twists around, both confused and fervent in his search. Grab on, Commodore! Scorpion shouts out to get Commodore's attention. Commodore looks up at Scorpion as he closes in with a sorrow-filled look of disappointment. Kush! The earth below Commodore's feet opens up and he disappears into the lava-filled crevice. Scorpion glides over the fissure helplessly as Commodore splashes into the magma below. The SIC quickly spins around as magma begins to bubble to the surface and shoot into the air. The earth around the magma begins to crumble and sink in, creating a bowl of bubbling red and orange hot lava. Guys? Get back here! Something crazy's happening! Rooster announces over the radio. Sarok Chan picks up the speed as Scorpion dangles from the SIC and they quickly reach the village. The village is covered with a strange thin grey mist that is spurting up from the earth. Rooster and Piranha stand in an isolated corner of the village wearing their personal masks and goggles. Many of the villagers lay in the streets convulsing or struggling to make their way through the mist. Rooster waves his arms as Scorpion approaches from the air. Sarok Chan discerns from another rope just as Scorpion gets ready to leap down to join the rest of his squad. "Grab a mask, Chan," Scorpion says to Sarok Chan, releases his grip and takes a 15-foot plunge through the village street. Sarok Chan lands less gracefully, like an ape beside him a few seconds later wearing his own mask and goggles. "What happened?" Scorpion asks Rooster, as Piranha does her best to treat nearby villagers. "I don't know. These gases started shooting up out of the ground and the villagers all started acting crazy." Rooster looks past Scorpion and searches for his leader. "Where's Commodore?" Scorpion shakes his head and takes a deep breath before delivering the bad news. "He's gone." He turns around and faces Piranha as she stands to her feet. "We were investigating the coordinates and the terrain around him just opened up and swallowed him." "Swallowed him?" Piranha asks. "Yes. We tried to grab him, but he fell into the lava beneath. The volcano here must be deep underground. I'm sorry," Scorpion says with as much remorse as he can convey with his altered vocal tones. "We have to go back for him. His power is uniquely suited for something like that. He can adapt to the harshest environments." Piranha urges her team and they realize that she may be right. But even Commodore can't last very long inside a pool of molten lava. You may have a point." Scorpion ponders only for a moment and then tells the team his plan. "Rooster, get on the radio and call in for an evac to speed it up," he says, and then turns to Piranha and continues. "You, go with Sarok Chan and get whatever you need to establish a casualty collection point and start triaging these villagers. When she gets what she needs, meet me back over where we lost Commodore." Each squad member receives their orders and prepares to take action. They break from the hurdle to find that the villagers have all seemingly recovered and are staring up into the sky. The squad hesitates as they scan the crowd of villagers who were all convulsing and writhing in pain moments ago. What are they all staring at up there?" Rooster's mask beeps, signaling that the energy is pure enough to breathe. He removes his mask and shields his eyes from the sun as he gazes up into the big blue sky. All of a sudden, the ground shakes violently with a loud boom. The villagers turn around in a frenzy and focus their attention on the 4 remaining members of the SIC Squad. The earth shifts violently below their feet as chunks of the nearby clay and stone structures fall to the ground. A few of the villagers begin to sprint towards Scorpion and the squad with a deadly gaze and snarling with a vicious, ravenous rage. "We are not here to hurt you," Piranha yells out, not wanting to repeat her same mistake from the last mission. The shaking subsides quickly and Scorpion steps out in front of his team, removing his thin but heavy-bladed weapon from his scabbard on his back. "Get ready to defend yourself." There's no mistaking their ravenous countenance. The madness that is now consuming the villagers is overwhelming. They mean to destroy the SIC Squad. Scorpion and Sarok Chan begin to immediately survey their surroundings and inventory their weapons. Piranha and Rooster remove their pistols from their holsters, and with their backs to the wall, they face the impeding threat. "Rock, you're on overwatch. Find a perch and stay steady. We need to get to the SIC." Scorpion issues his first command. "We'll have to clear a path. Shoot to disable if possible. Once we get to the SIC, we can try find Commodore before it's too late." Immediately, Sarok Chan springs into action. He sprints to the nearest tall building, leaps into the air, and disappears into the second-story window. Scorpion charges towards the tree line as the possessed villagers begin to close in. Rooster and Piranha set their sights on approaching villagers that are blocking their escape route, but hesitate to fire their weapons. Scorpion makes the first move as an enraged villager rushes in head first. Scorpion bends his knees and swings his katana upwards, slicing the dark-skinned man's right shoulder clean to the edge of his clavicle, and follows the upward stroke with a horizontal spinning knee. The forceful right knee collides with the crazed man's hip just where it would meet his greater trochanter, dislocating it instantly. It drops him to the ground, but the man doesn't let out a whimper. Instead, Without the support of his left leg, he continues to pushing his bloody body towards Scorpion even after the three of them rush past him. Rooster steps over Scorpion's first victim and takes aim at one of his own. Bang! Bang! 2 shots are all it takes to drop the older woman to the ground. Bang! 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 3 shots ring out from behind him. Oh, that feels good! Piranha moans as she takes down another victim. The trio begins a concert of carnage as they pave their way through the townspeople. The 3-member wrecking crew disables almost 3 dozen enraged villagers before reaching a blockade. As they get closer to the tree line, more and more villagers pour in from every direction. Scorpion puts away his katana, switches to his SMG, and aims low to take out the legs of the seemingly possessed villagers. Rooster and Piranha begin to realize that they will need some more ammunition, but they must reach the SIC in order to restock. Kush! An incredible shockwave rips through the landscape, forcing a large group of the villagers to the ground, then tearing through the tree line and leaving a clear path through the wooded area to the SIC about 150 yards away. Rooster gets caught in the edge of the blast, but pops up immediately. "You could warn somebody before you use that thing, sir!" Rooster screams back toward the village as more villagers race in his direction and his 2 teammates race through the opening that Sarok Chan has just created for them. "You're welcome," Sarok Chan replies into his radio as he continues to watch over the squad from his perch, holding his now red-hot cannon. The 3 squad members dash through the dry landscape towards the SIC in hopes of finding Scorpion still clinging to life somewhere nearby. The ground underneath the squad begins to rumble. Scorpion stumbles to the ground as the ground below him becomes unstable. Rooster and Piranha slow up behind him, pausing to help him to his feet and prepare to resume their race. "Wait!" Scorpion stops them in their tracks. Only 20 yards away from their destination, Scorpion can see something ominous in front of them. A loud crack and crashing sound explodes from underneath the SIC as the earth below the SIC pushes up and turns the small aircraft on its side and then topples it over. "Thou hast desecrated my hallowed dominion." A low grumbling voice fills the air all around the SIC Squad, and they immediately draw their weapons and take defensive stances. "What in the Hades was that?" Piranha says out loud as she notices that the villagers have stopped following them and are now just standing and staring in their direction like before, 50 yards to their rear. "I don't know, but I'm sure we're about to find out," Scorpion says as he draws their attention to the area below where the SIC previously sat. The ground trembles with the cadence of a slow-walking dinosaur as the lava and steam mix with the earth and rises up out of the land. Scorpion peers around the massive foaming mass at their small aircraft and dashes in its direction. He feels the ground shake again and continues his sprint, desperate to reach their only hope of evacuation. "You are not worthy of the power that you seek." The earth trembles once more and a jagged blockage springs up from the earth around Scorpion and encircles him in a rocky prison. "Scorpion!" Piranha yells out as the rock monster begins to take form. "I'm fine. Get to the SIC before this thing gets itself together." Scorpion issues the order and proceeds to attempt to climb out of his 15-foot prison. Before Piranha and Rooster can even set their feet to run, the earth below them sinks down and encases them in a 20-foot trench. "Per-Ashimdu is the name of your destruction, and I will deliver it swiftly." The powerful mixture of lava, clay, and ash begin to push itself into the sky and forms into a 6-armed turtle-shaped creature with no face. Each set of arms that pushes the mass up from the earth is made of rock, lava, and ash. It raises its huge lava arms and prepares to crush Piranha and Rooster like herds inside a mortar waiting to be ground. Koom! Another shockwave impacts the rock monster Per-Ashimdu with direct contact and knocks the titan off balance. Rooster and Piranha race up the side of this steep embankment and escape their tomb before Per-Ashimdu catches his balance. Sarok Chan makes his way through the crowd of dazed villagers standing ambient nearby as Scorpion explodes from the top of his cage and lands a few feet away from the SIC's door. "Your continued insolence shall result in your destruction." Per-Ashimdu's voice booms out through the landscape as a volcanic ash begins to steam from its entire body. The villagers begin to react to Per-Ashimdu's activity and begin moving towards the action. Sarok Chan races out in front of them and meets up with his squad just as Per-Ashimdu prepares to strike again. It swings 2 of its 6 arms and impacts the ground. scattering the squad and flipping the SIC back over its normal position. Sir Rock-chan, hit it with the cannon! Scorpion issues the order, and Sir Rock-chan flips the larger of his two long barrel weapons from his back to his right shoulder and sights up his target. Sir Rock-chan kneels down as two rods extend from his weapon and dig into the ground to stabilize it. Boom! He fires the cannon, and it impacts with a thunderous sound, pushing the giant up from its limbs and tumbling onto its turtle-like protective rock and lava shell. The villagers become frenzied and begin to rush towards the SIC Squad. Per Ashimdu thuds against the ground and the landscape shifts again, this time lifting the SIC high up into the air, way out of the SIC Squad's reach. Per Ashimdu recovers quickly, begins to thrash violently at the SIC Squad, causing them all to fall back and leaving them stuck between the possessed villagers and their enraged deity. Each member of the squad begins to fire in each direction, trying to disable as many targets as they can before becoming overwhelmed. The Titan Peashimdu's thunderous blows continue to destroy the landscape and leave the team with nowhere to run. All of a sudden, the triumphant sound of a horn pierces the chaos of the battle. The villagers all stop in their tracks, snapping out of their possession. Some fall down to the ground in pain from their injuries, while others meander about as if they just woke up from a translucent dream. Per Ashimdu collapses to the ground as the horn continues to sound. The magma and ash-laden vortexes of air that compiled the Titan's body have now dissipated into the earth. The rough areas in the landscape settle back down to the earth, revealing the hero. "Sorry I took so long," Captain Komodo says. "I had to find some new clothes." Komodo descends from the jagged earth with a long golden horn firmly clutched in his hands as the earth settles back down to normalcy. The rest of the SIC Squad rejoices as they see their leader slide down slowly from the uneven earth. They rush to Komodo's side and they all embrace. "Is this it?" Scorpion asks, pointing to the golden ram's horn that his captain grips close to him. "Yes, but never mind about this now. We are here to help these people. Get that triage area set up and find out how close that medical evacuation squad is." Komodo takes the reins as if nothing just happened. "Scorpion, help me run a diagnostic test on the SIC." Everyone springs into action as Scorpion and Komodo enter the battered SIC. "Is that some sort of weapon? What was that thing that just came out of the ground?" Scorpion asks, not really expecting to be answered. But Komodo nods and looks down at the ancient golden horn that he just used to destroy a prehistoric godlike monster. It's one of the most powerful on this planet. Komodo pauses and enters the SIC ahead of Scorpion and opens his locker. He removes a large silver cylinder, opens it and places the instrument inside. "Can you fly this thing?" "Huh?" Scorpion shakes his head. His new curiosity has made him want to stick around the SIC Squad for longer. "If you're going to leave, you need to do it before this medevac shows up. I'll take care of the rest." Komodo pleads for Scorpion to get away while he can. Scorpion takes a deep breath and turns around to head to the cockpit. "I'm sure we'll see each other again." "You better hope so." Scorpion quips back as he steps into the pilot's seat and activates the SIC. Komodo exits the aircraft as the SIC begins to lift off. The rest of the team scrambles to help the villagers under the low evening sun as Scorpion cloaks the SIC and takes off to an unknown destination. "I don't think I can handle this power," Komodo says as he approaches a glass podium in a dimly lit room that looks like a museum. Komodo coughs blood onto his vest as he sets the golden horn on the platform. He grabs his chest and begins to breathe deeply in obvious distress. "Your powers are uniquely suited for this purpose." Commander Lacrosse steps past Komodo and admires his newest trophy in its thick glass case. "The beast that you faced was one of the Guardians strategically placed to hide these instruments of destruction. His interference may have pushed your powers beyond their limits." Komodo begins to bleed from his eyes and nose as he collapses to the floor behind Commander Lacrosse. "One thing is now obvious. You are not strong enough. You cannot lead our armies in the coming conflict. If you survive, you will serve your purpose in retrieving the rest of Babalwa's ancient weaponry. I will groom another soldier to lead my armies. I will personally recruit the leader of the SIC Squad Omega." The End. A novel by Denny J. Quick. Narrated by Babalwa.